By the end of this vlog, I will clearly explain you how to integrate AI in your React Native Expo based applications. So I will be implementing Gemini AI in this particular vlog and will try to guide you how to do step by step. Even if you are a beginner, following this particular tutorial, you can easily integrate AI in your applications. So stay tuned till the end and let's get started. So here I have added the dependency Axios and I'll be providing the command to add this particular dependency in your project. Now let's try to concentrate on this particular tutorial, like how we are going forward, and let me try to import the required imports here and then I'll explain you what exactly we are trying to do. And here if you see the imports, we have just added the use state. So we require the use state import to handle the state, and also the components like view, text, and text input, button, scroll view, all these required components in our application. And the third import is ask Gemini, and here you can see the file, right, Gemini, where I will be trying to add the code, like integrating Gemini into our application. So first we'll start with this particular file and go back to our app.js. So hoping that you have already added the dependency Axios. If not, here's the command for adding this particular library to your project. So now that we have got the dependency added, let me try to make use of it and make a post call to the URL. So here is the URL and I'll be providing this particular URL in the code section. And now that to this particular URL, we are trying to send the contents. So the contents in the sense, the data which we are trying to fetch, right? So we need to provide a prompt to the AI. So that particular prompt we need to provide to this particular API. So here we do have the role, like a user is the role here, and now that we are specifying the paths here, and again whenever you are trying to specify a prompt, right, not every time the prompt will be in the form of text. So sometimes you upload any image or some music file or a PDF file, a document. So here the prompt will be based on that particular file type, but here I'm trying to specify the text, so I'm specifying it like a text and providing the prompt over here. And parts specify, like this is one part we are specifying. If you are having text with image, text with music file, and all this, like you'll be specifying multiple parts here. That's why we have added an array here and we have specified the text prompt now. And the next thing is you need to specify the params, and here you need to add your Gemini API key as well. So in this particular video, I have clearly explained you how to get the Gemini API key, and you can refer this particular video and you can fetch your Gemini API key by logging in with your Gmail account. And once you got your API key, right, replace in this particular value so that it will be utilized here. And again we have specified the headers here, like application JSON type, and timeout is 35,000 milliseconds. Make sure you specify something more than 30,000 milliseconds here, because it takes some time for Gemini to provide you back the response. And if you specify less timeout, right, then call might get failed here due to the timeout issue. And the next thing is we need to parse the response. So once we got the response, right, we need to parse the response here. So I'm trying to collect the response in this particular text variable here. So response.data, make sure it is not null, and find the candidates here and identify the first candidate, and from that try to fetch the content here. So if text is null, right, then you need to throw an exception here so that the flow gets stopped here, returning a message. Or else if you fetch some information, right, then return the information what you fetched, so that we are able to pass the information in our code. And also you need to have a catch block, as we are dealing with the try block here. So something goes wrong, right, you need to handle that scenario as well. So now that we are done with the Gemini.js file, and also make sure you add your API key here, and let's go back to the app.js file where we resume back the coding here in this particular file, and try adding the basic view, and thereafter try to fetch the user input and append and pass that to the Gemini AI here. So here we have considered three use state variables here, like for setting the input, so the user provided input, and the response, handling the response, and also the progress dialog, that is loading state. Also we are trying to make use of these particular three states here. And here in this video I have clearly explained you what is the use state and why do we make use of it. So if you are having any queries, may refer this particular video. And almost we are done with the basic configuration things. Now that we have got the final task, that is to add a basic UI here, and again we just consider a button and a text input. I will be wrapping up these things as well quickly, and we'll try to run the application and try to see how it works. And here we have completed with the coding part, and quickly I'll try to explain here. We have created a view inside which we have got the text style, and here I'm just trying to specify some text here like Gemini AI chat. And the next thing is we are adding a text input here so as to fetch the user input, and also I have provided the styles also like in an inline form here. So here in this particular video I have clearly explained you how you can create a separate style sheets, and what are style sheets and what is an inline style. I have clearly explained in this part of the video. You can refer if you are having any queries. And here we are trying to provide the input here, so the value like input we are trying to handle from here, and whenever there is any change like the user is trying to type the text, right, then we are trying to set the input. So here we have specified the use states, right, so using that we are trying to capture the input and trying to store and fetch it later when we are trying to provide to the AI. And again these are the style related things. And here the button we are trying to handle the task. So whenever the user press on this particular button, right, then there initially it will like be ask Gemini, and once the user click on this particular button, right, then the text will be changed to thinking. And again this is a optional thing I have just added. You can just write a simple text over here like ask Gemini. And the next thing is a scroll view. So this is an important component here. Whenever we found the response back from the Gemini, we don't know how much data we are trying to fetch from the AI. So I have added a scroll view and provided some margin on the top, and also inside which we have added a text component and tried displaying the data. And now quickly try to open the iOS simulator and try to run this particular code. So I'm just trying to save this code and quickly try to run this particular code and see the output whether this works or not. And again make sure you add the Gemini API key in the gemini.js file before proceeding further. So now I'm trying to run this particular code, nps expo start, and I'll be selecting the iOS simulator here, and let me try to see the output. So I'll be providing all the required commands for creating the project, adding the library, everything in the code part. Link will be provided in the description section below. And now that our application is now installed, and yes, we have got the input box now. Let me try to ask a question like React Native Expo, and what will Gemini tell about this? Let me ask. And here we have got the information back from the AI model. So now you have understood, right, why I have specified the scroll view, because we are not sure how much data we'll get. So that's why I added a scroll view here. And I hope you found this tutorial interesting. If yes, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.